Hello, welcome to the Twin Sister Docs podcast. Thank you to all of our previous viewers and listeners, and we welcome any new viewers and listeners. I am Dr. Delana Wardlaw, board-certified family medicine physician.
And I am Dr. Elena McDonald, board-certified general pediatrician. And together, we are
the Twin Sister Docs. Well, today, we have a special guest with us, Miss Natasha Coleman, and she's from the American Cancer Society. And so we'll have Miss Natasha introduce herself, and then we will get into the podcast.
Yeah, thank you for having me. Natasha Coleman, I'm with the American Cancer Society. I'm the Vice President of Community Impact for the Northeast region here at the American Cancer Society.
Well, thank you for joining our podcast.
Yeah.
And so today, we are talking about some really impactful things that the American Cancer Society is doing, in this initiative or program that you have going on.
Yeah. So last year in 2024, May of 2024, we launched one of the largest cohort studies. So it's called the Voices of Black Women Study. And our goal really is to enroll 100,000 Black women into this study. So that is the largest study reaching out to Black women across the country, not just here locally, but across the country.
And this particular study, what is this study going to be looking at? What question is being asked? What data are you trying to collect?
Yeah, we're really looking at the why. As you both know, as physicians, disparities, health disparities, not just cancer disparities, affects Black women, our Black community, even more, right? And so we know for breast cancer, for example, Black women are twice as likely to die from breast cancer as compared to their white counterpart. So we want to know the why. We always know that our Black women are dying more and faster or getting more aggressive cancer when they are diagnosed. So this study is really looking at what behaviors, what factors really lead to some of the reasons on what those disparities are leading to. So we look at, it's a survey. So we look at a lot of questions on where we live, what our lifestyle is, physical activity, what we're eating, any trauma in our lives. Racism is a trauma. Yes. Sexual assault is a trauma. All those things really, as you know, really impact a woman's health and their lifestyle.
And so this is very important because as physicians, and particularly as a primary care physician, family medicine physician, preventive medicine is key for my daily job, for my daily efforts that I do every day in the office. And, we know that lack of access to care is a major issue. We know that sometimes genetics play a role, the triple negative breast cancers. And we do know that sometimes people are just simply unaware of what they should be doing, when they should be doing it. But as you said, this study gives a voice to every individual who participates so we can hear what are the other issues that are really going on that are impacting us as African American women.
Yeah. And the goal is really to follow women over their 20 or 30-year lifespan. So it's what we call longitudinal study. And we're trying to reach women before any diagnosis of cancer. So the goal really is to reach women between the ages of 25 and 55 who've never had a diagnosis of cancer. So no diagnosis of cancer, 25 to 55, living in any states across the country. And then you join a study. That means you enroll online. Our website, the website is voices.cancer.org. You go on there, you take a few questions just to make sure that you are eligible, which means age eligible and, of course, no cancer history. And then after that, you enroll in the study. Okay. And so you go through a series of questions and then you commit for us to follow you. So once, twice a year, we'll reach out with a short survey to say, anything changed? What's your health history look like? Any family history has changed? Of course, your mother diagnosed with cancer in the last 6 months or 12 months. Were you diagnosed? Those are types of things that we will ask along the course of the years of the study.
Okay.
And as Dr. Warlaw and I always say, family history is so important. We say it again and again and again. We need to discuss these things. Family history is not something that we keep in the closet. We keep in our home. Right. We had to discuss it. And also, when we talk about research, we know a lot of studies, African Americans are not in these studies for one reason or another. It could be one, we feel like they're not talking to us. We feel like they're not hearing us. They're not listening to us. And when we get data back, the data isn't reflective
Not
of
reflective.
us.
Yeah.
So when patients come in and they'll say, well, doc, how does this impact, how does the medicine affect Black women? We don't know because we didn't have enough Black women in the study. And we know that research is what drives medicine. It is what tells us what's going to be the next treatment plan, what's going to be the next imaging, the best imaging study to use, what, side effects, what we can expect. And we need to be involved in those studies so we could be adequately represented as we move forward. So, and I think that the title of the study is so key, voices. So important, because we often feel like we don't have a voice. And even when we do speak up, oftentimes people aren't listening for multiple reasons, or they're listening and we're still not being heard. Yes. So important.
So key. Yeah. So we've been doing studies, at the American Cancer Society for the past 50 years, looking at the link between tobacco use and lung cancer. And we've seen same thing what you said, right? So our cancer prevention study, we had 1, 2, and 3 over the years since the 50s. When you look at the data, it's not a huge representation of Black women. And we still see the cancer disparities. We still see those inequities amongst our community. So it is really like, how do we give them a voice? How do we give our women a voice in this study? And you guys know this, right? With clinical trials, a lot of women, there is a stigma. And we know when folks hear research, yes, there's a stigma attached to it. And so we can't ignore that. We're not taking away from what happened in the past, but our community really needs to understand there's such an important factor to having and lending their voice to certain causes. There's certain studies.
And again, we're getting these diseases and these conditions at a much higher rate. So we want to make sure that when we're talking about the treatments, yes, we have studied this treatment in a significant number of Black women to say, hey, this is what we saw. Now, of course, if we're not in the studies, we have to go with what the research has shown for other ethnic groups, and we have to move forward. But again, we also have to play our part.
Yes.
We have to make sure that we're showing up, making sure that we're participating in studies, because again, that information, that data, it could be the difference of life and death, as Dr. Wardlaw always says.
And we have to make sure that we're meeting people where they are.
Yes.
So one of the, Dr. McDonald, we pride ourselves on, we meet people where they are. If we have to go out into the community, if we have to go to the church, if we have to go to the school, if we have to go to social media, if we have to go to the radio, we meet people where they are so that they can receive the information. And I think this is important because patients can go get information about the study. They don't have to leave their house. They could get it on their devices. And you'll clarify, Tasha, can they get it on their laptops, their desktop?
They have accessible to all devices.
And so then they can become comfortable. If they have questions, they can reach out, and then they can really feel comfortable with participating in the study.
Yes.
When we hear studies, we hear research, yes, history gives many people reasons for not participating.
Yeah.
But as Dr. McDonald and I always say, you can't let history prevent us from receiving the information and treatment that is going to help us today. We don't want to become a statistic.
No, do not.
And so the fact that people can tap into the study, look into it, ask questions, see if they're going to participate, and then go from there.
Yeah.
Because we have to be heard.
You have to be heard.
Many times we are marginalized, we're victimized, and medicine isn't. No, medicine is a part of that as well. So we have to make sure that we are doing what we can to reach for.
Yeah. And the goal really is to look at the results from the study and what policies, what changes, what practices could we change as a result of what we see in the study. And how can we work with providers like both of you on how we deliver the message differently, what our healthcare delivery system will look like differently. And it will all be based on the results from the study.
And something that you said is important, the message. Yeah. The messaging is so important.
Yes.
So oftentimes, in order to get people to participate in research, is how it's presented to them. And if sometimes you have to partner with a trusted messenger. You go into a community and it's an organization. They don't have people that look like the community that they're going into. They're not going to hear the message. because they feel like, as Dr. Warlaw always says, we borrowed this quote from, I believe, Dr. Maya Angelou, people don't care what you know until they know that you care.
That's true.
So when you come into these communities, the message has to come across a certain way that people feel like, yes, they have my best interest at heart. I'm going to go and I'm going to participate in the study, because really the study is not just for the participant. It's for your mother, your sister, your granddaughter, your friend, your coworker, your teammate. It's for all the women who are in your life.
Yeah, and so true. And that's why we're leaning on what we call our ambassadors. So we have voices ambassadors, which, what you said, they're trusted individuals from their own communities. So we train them, we provide them the resources. It is not staff driven from the American Cancer Society. And they provide a goodie bag, a swag bag, but they can go out into their church, their sorority, their book club, their friend group, family reunion, and really talk about why, one, they enrolled in the study, or if they're a survivor, they also can be an ambassador, even though they may not be eligible for the study.
Right.
But they can say how, like you said, how important the study is for generations.
Yes.
And so they really are pushing out just enrollment, really understanding and really encouraging the women within their lives to join the study, enroll in the study. So it's so important.
And it's very important for Dr. McDonald and I, because one, we practice in the community and we want people to live their best, healthiest life. Two, we have many people who have had cancer diagnosis in our family. One of the key reasons why we went into medicine is because our grandmother died of breast cancer at the age of 53. And so what we like to impress upon the community is this is us who is experiencing this as well. You know, we are not living outside this box. This is not something that we don't experience.
Sure.
And so when we come to our community and say, you know, this is why this information is valuable to you, or this why this test may be valuable to you, it's because we have been impacted as well, professionally and personally.
Yeah. We all have a story to tell.
Yes.
So we all have a story. We all have a lived experience and a story to tell. And it's so important to really lean on that. And that's what we tell our ambassadors and our teams and our partners to say, this is why we're doing it. We also have that story to tell, and it's important to share.
And as you said, we all have a story, and that's important because people make more of a connection. Oh, she had the same thing. I had the same experience. Or you're coming from a place of honesty, and people can make a better connection versus you're just up there reading, you know, a template or a script, you know, and people can make that connection. She understands. She's been through this. She understands. So it's important for that connection to be made.
And I think women need to understand that they have a role in this, right? So they can really, not only their voice, but they're really making an impact. They are being part of a huge, historic study. And so they can say that I was a part of that study.
Yes.
I think women who enroll, you have to, you know, the first survey is a little longer. It takes about 90 minutes.
Okay.
But like you said, all devices, your laptop, your phone, your computer, you can stop. You don't have to do it in one sitting, but you can stop.
That's important.
Back to it. And we'll send you reminders. So even if you stopped last week and you want to come back to it, we'll send you a little flag reminder saying, we saw you enrolled, you started your registration. Do you want to complete it? And then there are some questions you can skip. So the questions are optional. So there are some questions they will say, some of them are triggering, right? And so if you want to ask about, you know, a sexual assault history or any trauma that anyone has experienced, that might be triggering for some folks. And that's okay to skip. You can skip it. You could skip a whole section. It's okay. The more information we have on an individual, the better. But it is optional. There are questions that are optional.
And I think another benefit is giving people the ability to be able to, once you put it down on paper, then you can communicate that more effectively with your medical team, with your primary care doctor. You may not have really found the words previously or how to communicate that to your doctor. So I think that this is a very effective way to get it out and be able to communicate it.
Open that dialogue with your health provider and your family, because it does ask your family history questions. If you haven't talked to your mom or your dad about what's in your family, or who's been diagnosed, and it's been a secret. Here. You know, that's a conversation. You know, Black folk. Yes, I know.
Black folk, what goes on in this house stays in this house. Don't tell our family business. And certain things that stay in the house, but family history
is important.
Is so important because it can directly impact
your medical history.
So when you're sitting around, you're having a conversation, like have a conversation.
Right.
And as Dr. McDonald said, now you don't have to wait till the
Thanksgiving, Christmas, the birthday party.
just please share the information. Yes, we have to give. It's because it affects us. Yes, it affects us directly.
Yes, it's exactly. And you didn't know what your aunt or your grandmother passed away.
Yes.
Ask the questions. Because it puts you at a higher risk.
Ask the question.
You don't know if it's
Yes.
family.
Yes.
Because it's
so important.
So important. Just ask.
So important. We have, it's this generational thing where you have been taught to keep everything so close, but keeping it so close could ultimately harm you. So it's important to please, as we say, share family history.
Yeah. And so we're also encouraging women just to think about who in their network, right? So not only individually to enroll in the study, but who can they reach out to enroll in the study, right? And so going to the website, getting any information, but on that group chat, sending it out to their friends to say, I enrolled. Would you ladies be interested too? Right? Not just sharing the funny memes and the videos.
Right.
We always share.
It's a call to, really a call to action. Yes, a call to action.
Like, who else do you know that could be eligible for the study?
Yes. Now, longitudinal study.
Yeah.
So how long do you look to collect this information, Ms. Natasha?
We say 25 to 30 years. And that's our goal. That is our goal. So that's why the age is 25 to 55. And some folks have asked us, why can't, women over the age of 55? It's just on the lifespan. It's a longitudinal study, as you know. Not like we have anything against women over 55 plus, but it really is looking at how long can we follow them along the course of the study.
Now, say perhaps someone initially wants to be interested in the study and then they decide for whatever reason that they don't want to participate. And then a year or two later, they have a aha moment.
Yeah.
And
it's fine.
Okay. So
they can
come back.
They can come back and they can drop if they want at any time.
Okay.
So there's always a research team that will always reach out to them virtually.
Okay.
And or, just a information, email or phone number they can reach out to if they want to drop all in time and they can join back in.
Okay.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Great.
Yeah. It's all about that comfort level.
Yes.
Right.
And that is so important. People need to feel comfortable with what they're participating in. Yeah. Now, can you go over the exact steps? Yeah. So if someone's listening and they say, I'm going to sign up for this study. Yeah. What exactly what are the steps that they go through?
1, if you identify as a Black woman, so that's your first criteria. 2, age, 25 and 55. Okay. And 3, any state. It used to be our target states. We used to have 20 target states, of course, because of the population and how many, depending on those sides. Now, since January of 2025, we've opened it up to all 50 states. Good. And then no history of cancer. We have exceptions for basal squamous skin cancer, which is just a small population of Black women. You can still be eligible. Okay. For all other cancers, no cancer diagnosis history. Individually, not in your family, but individual cancer diagnosis. And if that's the case, go on to voices.cancer.org, and then you can start the process. That's our enrollment study. On that website, there's frequently asked questions. There's information and resources, but it will say enroll here. And you can go on there. And once you do the registration on just putting in your basic contact information, then you can stop and you can go back to the study so that we have your contact information and you can, enroll further if you want to. You want to finish the whole study in one setting? Mm-hmm. That's also okay. It's also good.
Right. And that's all the questions. Yes. You said it's about a 90-minute question answer
for the first survey. The surveys, those additional surveys we do 1 to 2 times a year. That takes about 30 minutes, 20 then 30 breaks. Those are shorter. Great. But the first initial, that's that first intake. Okay, that we need a lot.
It takes time.
It does.
It takes time. And again, it's important. So we have to make the time. We really have to make the time.
We make time for a lot of
Yes, a whole lot of things. Yes. A bit more time in a hairdresser. I'm just saying.
Excuses for a lot of things.
So better yet, while you're waiting.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Fill it
out. Do it on your phone.
Or instead of just scrolling on social media,
Yes.
Can do.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes. Do a survey.
Yeah. Do a survey.
Yeah. Now, if I'm doing the survey, because I do plan to join. I'm good. Yes. I have to join the survey. If I'm doing the survey and for whatever reason I get kicked out, I'm not tech savvy.
No, so I have a question.
Does it say, does it go along?
Just Thank you. It does. That's a question. It does say that because once we have that registration information, like that, your contact information, it gives you an identifying, like a kind of like a code to get back in. So you have your specific code, you can get back in, you can log back in, and everything is secure. Well, that's the other thing we get questions on. Is it secure?
That's it.
Is my information safe?
And what are you doing with the data?
We're not selling.
Yes.
We are independent. You know this, right? So we are
Yes.
a non-government
That is important.
organization. Those are the other questions in there that we're not selling your information. It's nothing like that. So those are part of the resources and those frequently asked questions that is on there is, what are you doing? It is really for research purposes only. And I'm not sharing it out to any third party organization or another partner.
Great. And I think it's very important that you said that because you know, nowadays we do have to be concerned with people having access to information and
Highly sensitive
very
information.
yeah.
so thank you for protecting your information.
Yes, really, really cognizant of that. We want to make sure everyone feels safe
Yes.
and secure with the study.
Yeah.
Joining the study.
Yes. Great.
Now I will ask this. Most people have digital devices. What about for the occasional person who does not? Is there a paper form?
You know, we've asked that before. Not at this time.
Okay.
We have asked. Our previous studies in the past have been paper, but for right now, it is all digital, all online.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
Great.
wonderful.
Great.
Most people
have some kind of smartphone
They have
or a laptop or
yes.
an iPad.
Yes.
something. And if you have to help a friend who's not as tech savvy,
Yes.
do that as well. Too.
Yes.
But
And so, Natasha, in regards to the study, is there any incentive for joining the study? Can you talk about that a little bit?
yeah, there's not an incentive. So this study, because it's a research study, it has been approved by Institutional Review Board. And so we have to be very careful on not incentivizing. We really want women to join the study because they traditionally and they truly want to join the study, not because they were engaged or incentivized or propositioned to join the study. We want them to be a true enrolled study participant. So there is no incentives.
Great.
Yeah.
Great. So you're really joining the study because you are truly vested
Yeah.
Yes.
in the study.
Exactly.
So that's very important. And as Natasha mentioned, it has been approved by the IRB, so Institutional Review Board, meaning that this study is approved. It has been vetted.
Yes.
So it is legit.
It's legit. I'm saying that. It's legit.
And as a primary care physician, I encourage any of the listeners who meet the qualifications to please strongly consider participating in this study. Again, we've had plenty of instances where we have not been heard or we have been heard and we've been marginalized. And so this is the opportunity to get your voice out there if you feel like you have not had that opportunity before, even if you had.
This is the point for this research is focused on us. And so many times we are left out of the research bubble for some reason or another. But this is a call to action to all of us, Black women who are eligible, to make sure we sign up for this study because, again, it will ultimately benefit not just me, not just Dr. Wardwell, not just Natasha, but every Black woman that we are involved with, family, friends, coworkers, teammates, everyone. So please consider that.
So, Natasha, if I join this study, would that prevent me from joining any other studies?
There won't. Yeah, there won't. So personally, I enrolled in the study of Voices of Black Women, but there's been other studies as well. So even if we have additional studies after this, no, it does not prevent you at all.
Okay. Yeah. And what happens with my data?
Yeah.
The information that the American Cancer Society receives about me, what happens with that information?
We keep all the information safe. So everything, again, because of the Institutional Review Board, we have to keep all data very secure and safe. We do not sell it to any third party. We want to make sure that we are analyzing this data. We keep the data for our own research purposes only. So it does not leave the American Cancer Society's research team.
Great.
Yeah.
So important.
Yeah.
So important because people want to know what's going on with their data.
Yes, they do.
Another question I have for the study. It's a study that people do online, digitally, but is there at any point where they're required to report physically?
Yes. Yeah. So there is just for the initial intake, there is a question if individuals are comfortable to get a blood sample. It's not mandatory. It's optional. So you could opt out and then you would go to a local. We actually do everything for you. We send you a test kit, all the information in the mail, and you find an appointment and a place location, mostly a LabCorp or somewhere else, a collection site where it's convenient for you. You make an appointment. But again, it's optional. So that doesn't mean if you don't give a blood sample, you're out of the study. It does not mean that. But it helps. It does help. We've done it with other studies, and we are taking that for this study as well.
Yeah. And again, when you're joining a study, you want to make sure you're giving as much data as possible so that the research is able to determine what factors are impacting women, what factors are not impacting women. So the more information you can give, the better.
And it allows for next steps.
Yeah,
allows some changes.
Yes, it does. Yeah.
Implementation of various procedures that needs to be followed that can help to change any trajectory that may have manifested in the
absolutely. And we look at environmental, reasons of this too. So where you live, really, as you all know, your zip code definitely impacts your health. And so the more women we have from a certain area within each of the states, if it's Philadelphia, New York City, the better, right? So you're really looking at what crime, what do you see every day? So those are those types of questions. All that trauma is really, really important. So that's why it's 100,000, because some people say that's a lot of women. It is. We have it. And so it really is a commitment, but it's an opportunity for us to really engage a large cohort. That's why it's just a cohort study. There's a large cohort across the country.
Another question, Natasha. Is there a deadline for your enrollment period?
Good question. There is not. Okay. Right. So we launched last May of 24. There's not.
Okay.
So the sooner we enroll, the better. But we're not cutting it off at the end of the year or anything like that. So the closer we get, but we don't wait until 100,000, right? Okay. So our research team is actively working to analyze the data as we receive all those results. Exactly. So because of that, but it's not like it starts. Timer starts until we get 100,000 women.
Okay.
But there's no deadline. No.
Okay. In regards to information, as you receive information, is it released periodically, or do you just wait to get all the information at one point and then release everything all at once?
So there's milestones. So as we get, I heard it's about approximately 10,000 women, that first milestone enrolled. Our research team, even when you're in the study, they'll send you out periodic communication. So now that you're in the study, you'll get a newsletter, you get an email, you're on our mailing list. And so then you start to get results on what we're seeing. What are we hearing from the study? And that goes along the course.
Yes.
Right. So you are enrolled as a Voice as a Black Woman study participant. And so we communicate with you along the way.
And I think that's very important because it gives feedback to the participant, and that gives them more incentive to keep providing.
It does.
Yes. And so I think that is very important.
When we check in on those other surveys.
Yes.
Right. Yeah. Yes. Absolutely.
Yes, Rick.
Well, Natasha, thank you so much for joining us. I mean, it's such an important topic. Once again, tell us the website that women can go to to sign up for this study.
Yes, it's voices.cancer.org.
Yes.
So once you go on there, voices.cancer.org.
And we'll make sure that we share this information on our platform.
Yes.
On all of our social media at Twin Sister Docs, on our website, thetwinsisterdocs.com. And so Dr. McDonald and I, we are really appreciative of the American Cancer Society of, allowing us to be able to participate in such a monumental study.
Yeah. And we thank you, right, on behalf of the American Cancer Society. We understand the platform and your visibility and credibility in the community as two physicians. That's huge. Seeing two Black women who are just having this platform is really, really important. So we see you as our true partners as well.
Well, thank you. We really appreciate that because our foundation, Dr. McDonald and I, we are a foundation. Part of it is to, provide resources, provide, advocacy resources. So, and I think that this is a huge way to have your voice heard.
Yes. Thank you. Yeah. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you. And thank you for joining the Twin Sister Docs podcast. We'll see you on our next episode. I think that went really well. Yeah.
Thank you, Natasha.
Yes. Thank you.